Hi friends. So I hope all of you are keeping healthy and safe. And we have been covering various aspects of denim industry in the last 2.5 months. And this includes our mill perspective, the factory perspective, designers, retailers, and so many others. One of the most important thing, what I think is a major part of the denim industry is the product development. The importance of product development and its impact on the industry cannot be overestimated in any way. So it was important for me to speak also to some experts in this field and to find out from them, uh, how product development has been affected by this and how we uh, are going to change our development system. And of course, our main topic is, can blue denim be truly green? And the whole discussion revolves around that. And we have got two guests, very experienced and very renowned guests. My first guest is Salli Deighton, who's a denim development consultant based in UK, and she has worked in the industry for more than 25 years, and with many retailers and brands including Wrangler, Lee, M&S, Fatface, Debenhams and ASOS. She had been rebuilding their denim offers and developing innovative and responsible products from fiber to finish. Over the last 8 years, she has found her role evolving to address the denim needs of each business, from engineering better fabrics to creating water reduction in their laundries. She has been also upskilling teams, training buyers, and designing and designers on how to create more responsible denim. Sorry. My second guest is Rowan, who's a denim consultant based, focused on design and development of denim and fabric and garments. He has worked with both mills and garment makers, advising on sustainable sourcing and on how to make their laundries and factories more responsible. He has been working in the industry for 15 years with most of the UK high street brands, including Next, M&S, Fatface, and Debenhams. For the last 4 years, he has been really focused on training and learning with companies such as Tonello, Genealogy, and Air Chemica. He has been analyzing every process involved in creating the denim and studying how to make it better, cleaner, and more sustainable. So, welcome both of you, and my apologies once again, for all this delay. It was quite unexpected, and I didn't expect that after experience of having almost 50 webinars, I could face such a situation. So, Sally and Rowan, welcome to the talk.
Thank you. Thanks for inviting us.
So, how's first of all, how are you doing, and how's London? I believe that London is really coming back very fast. Things are improving, and situation is quite good out there.
Yeah, London's on its way back a little bit. People are back at work. We're starting to see shops open on the high street, which we'll share a little bit with you at the end. So it feels a little bit more positive. I think people are still not clear on all the rules. We're not seeing everybody wearing masks, but generally people are starting to move and businesses starting to come and wake up a little bit again.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same. I'm seeing, because I'm down in Brighton, so I'm away from London, but I'm seeing in the news and some crazy images from outside Primark and what's going on outside Nike. It's ridiculous, because it's product at the end of the day versus a virus. But anyway, we'll look at it at the end.
So, but on the whole, I think the scene looks much better than what it was, let's say, 1 month back, and in terms of the disease also, and everything is coming back on track.
Yeah, our numbers are going down considerably. I think I didn't see yesterday's figures, but I think there've been 36 deaths and the cases have considerably dropped. So we're on a downward curve now. It's managing it and maintaining it. As soon as people start getting on a tube and moving around London, obviously, I think things are going to accelerate again. So everybody's trying to be sensible and we're bracing ourselves in case of a second wave. Hopefully it can be managed, but we are going in the right direction at the moment.
That's wonderful. And I really hope so. Yes, Rowan, you want to say something?
No, I was going to say yeah, for sure. And with obviously the stores opening, hopefully the economy can start to bounce back a bit. And let's see how it pans out over the week, to be honest, because a lot of the low-end retailers were getting big queues. So let's see, like people like Next and stuff. I think the customers may be a bit more delayed, a bit more cautious. So hopefully that will start to pick up as well, and then the whole economy will lift.
All right, that's great. So let's move on, and I would like to move to the first question. Salli, can you share some thoughts on how do you actually do your product development? What is your process you follow? And then we come to how it has changed due to all this situation that we have.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Rowan and I are really good friends because we met years ago at Fat Face and both had a real thirst for knowledge. I think I started as a denim consultant and Rowan hunted me down with lots of questions about, oh, what does this fabric do? Why are you choosing that shade? And we just became sort of work friends in terms of like every detail. And we share knowledge and we try and learn. We worked together at Debenhams a few years ago and tried to move the brand sustainable levels. So our approach is very much learning. So I've always been a person who needs to know everything in detail. I'm absolutely terrible. In my first job, I found myself designing golf suits and actually taking golf lessons, which I was terrible at, just so I could understand the movement of the body when you're wearing waterproof suits and things like that. So to me, product development is about understanding every aspect of the garment to be able to create it properly. There's not too many people I can engage in a conversation at that level of detail within the industry. And like even the other day, we were talking about sillets in ETPs. So, I mean, to me, you have to learn everything from the fibre, where your cotton's grown, everything right through to the finish. And exploring, when I go to factories, exploring the effluent treatment plant is also important. We need to know what's going on and how the water and the waste is being disposed of. So yeah, I'm really, really passionate about learning in detail. So this started many years ago with the mills, trying to find out about fabrics, asking the mills how they were dyed. I always ask for a fabric data sheet when I'm looking at the fabrics, and I found that a lot of designers didn't do that. So we know exactly what we're dealing with. And a few years ago, I found myself in laundry in Bangladesh. Incredible investment, 24 beautiful, shiny new Tornello machines, 2 lovely laser machines. And the laser machines had an IT guy running them, and the laundry had these great machines, technically knew how to work them, but didn't have the creativity. So rang up Tornello and said, please, will you teach us? And same with genealogia. Fortunately, Nahid, who's one of the gods in Bangladesh from genealogia, is on my speed dial. So he shot down to the factory to help. But we set up lessons and went over to Valencia, went over to Tornello, and they taught us how to use the machines, because I think as a product developer, you can't just draw a garment anymore. You have to understand how it's washed, what's going to happen to that fabric. And we tend to work backwards. So if I choose a standard or I'm working with a customer and they give me something, we want to achieve this finish, we analyze everything on that garment, the finish, how it's created, the fabric, and we look at the finished wash and then start thinking, how's this been finished? How can we do it sustainably now? What fabric do we need to achieve the look? If we choose this fabric that's been engineered for laser, you know, how will that respond in the laundry? And also we talk to the chemical people about what's going to happen when we apply certain chemicals. Like Rowan mentioned, Bruno and the guys at Near Chemica are fantastic. Dystar have taught me quite a lot of stuff. So we learn how the chemicals are going to respond. So we take responsibility for everything through the chain, from garment construction all the way through to finish. And that's it. And we need to take everybody on the journey. The companies I go into, I share this. We work with the merchandisers, the designers, the buyers, and we want everybody engaged on this learning, because I really don't believe you can genuinely buy a green and a sustainable product unless you do understand how it is made, everything from fibre to finish. So that's really important to me. Rowan?
Yeah, no, I totally agree, because that's how me and Sally really learned, because they had all these shiny new machines and we needed to prove that we could save. So we had to do conventional washing and then versus the new washing to show how we can be more sustainable and how we can benchmark ourselves with our improvements that we can make. So then going there and then developing the product there, going, right, here's the results, here's the data sheets, and this is the chemicals we use. Then we go directly to the factory, spend 2 weeks in Bangladesh with the same machines. And yeah, water levels, pHs and stuff change, but roughly you can get a similar kind of product and you can prove it as well, because we tried conventional and we've got EIM systems, things like this, where you can measure things. You know, we can show how we've saved and how we work. And EIM is great because it actually shows you all the steps. There's a lot of people wouldn't realize during the industry, like, you know, buyer, you know, copy this garment for this garment. They've got no idea how many steps. So every time I'm in a factory, I'm like, pull out that short at the start and then all the way through. You know, like a short that's been bleach washed, then acid, then PP spray, then, and all of it, you put them all down and you go, right, there's 17 steps there. You're like, really? Because you don't understand. So you need to understand these steps to be able to make savings, and save water and, yeah, all these kind of things. Yeah.
So, but let's say, I mean, you know, when you are working with a brand, a retailer, I mean, they have a particular requirement coming up. So, I mean, how deeply these designers get involved with you? I mean, when you are working as consultants, of course, when you are working in these brands yourself, then you are probably also deeply involved. But I mean, I think one of the complaints with many of the mills and many of the garment factories have that the designers don't have enough knowledge on product development. So they have a requirement, but they don't have knowledge, deep knowledge on that.
I mean, I started life as a designer, and I agree. I wasn't. Many years ago, I was drawing a picture and sending it to a factory and expecting them to understand what I meant. So this is where the learning came in. When I stepped back and went freelance, I think you're only as good as the work you deliver. So you have to be an expert at what you do. I work with designers and people, and a few of them, probably a certain lovely lady at Next, will tell you I can be quite cruel at the beginning and say, you know, how are you going to make this? Ask for a lot of questions. But we take everybody on the journey. So the designer Harmony, who's lovely, came out to Bangladesh with me, and I put her in the laundry, and she had to do every operation in the laundry to understand what was happening on the wash. And likewise, when I was a young designer, I got put in the Wrangler factory and told the production manager wouldn't make a single design until I'd actually made 6 pairs of jeans that passed QC. So it's so important that people understand and learn how the garments are made. Harmony's one of my dearest and best friends, and she's an incredible designer. And I think people want to learn. We love our industry very, very much. And I think you don't know to ask the question until somebody shares the knowledge with you. So this is how we want to share knowledge with everybody. We want to share what we're doing. And I love going into companies and, you know, telling them about sustainability, training them about sustainability, and teaching them things they didn't know that now they know to ask the question so they can go on this journey too.
Yeah. So, I mean, you know, when we are talking about truly green denim, so the knowledge of the designers on the various aspects of sustainability and from the fiber to finish, as you said, is very, very important. So, I mean, education for them, I mean, like you are helping them, and of course, the designers working in various companies, probably I think they need to have a much higher level of awareness about the whole processes that are taking place. And you're talking of sustainability, so that they can, you know, design a garment right from the beginning.
Yeah.
And Rowan, can you tell me, you know, now with the working from home, how's your experience, and how has your approach has been adjusted to that, because you cannot really travel and you cannot go out to factories, mills, and all.
Yes, so the hard thing is not being able to touch fabrics, and also looking at washers in the laundry and then being able to adjust them at the right times. But other than that, I can't complain too much, because I've had a lot more time to think, rethink as well, and pause for a second. But also the education part is, people don't teach you a lot of this stuff. So like Salli said, if you want to know something about a substitute PP, for instance, what is there out there and how do they work, you contact the chemistry guys and then you discuss with them. And then, because the thing is, when they teach you how to use it and they teach you what it does, then actually you can then use it on your laundry. So it's mutually beneficial. So this is where I think people can really kind of learn. So I've been doing a bit of learning like this. I've been doing online bits. I've done e-designer, so I got my diploma in that, which is great. I've done webinars. My laser tweaking, had time to do, because normally you get a one hit, one sample, and you're done kind of thing. But my laser designer in Cambodia, we've had a lot of time to discuss the details of laser templates, because it's really hard to go from hand brushing to laser. And it's been going for 30, 40 years, but it's still not there. But bit by bit, it's getting better. But it's all about applying it and then trying things. So I've been quite lucky, and I'd utilise my time, because you're not going to have this time again. We're not going to be, because it's actually, it's good to be given this time to learn new things, opportunities. As long as you take it as an opportunity to adapt and learn, there's a lot I've done, actually. I don't want to babble on too much.
No, it's fine. Good. For me, I'm used to it. I'm freelance for quite a few years, so I'm used to working at home, and it's a discipline you get used to. You get used to managing your time. My time's probably been a bit worse because I've got too many people in the house, and my husband's a teacher, so we fight for the office. So it's made it a little bit more challenging. But again, like Rowan, I've been learning and trying to really expand my knowledge. and change my approach. Zoom's been brilliant because it's enabled me to, I've been training some of the store staff in some of the shops and things like that, and teaching them about sustainability and about what we're doing on product. And that's really exciting. And I also got asked to train a couple of retailers in the UK as well. So again, I'm getting a chance to share by Zoom presentations and this new skill set that everybody needs to adapt. So I've also, with the brands I've worked with, we've been backtracking over the samples that were in development, what we've already been working on, and thinking, are these right? So I've been able to go back into the detail of the laundry process with the factory and just examining everything I'm doing to make sure we are maximising the sustainability of that product, and also looking at the fabrics we've put down. And we've been working on a way with to communicate with the customers, so coming up with labels or QR codes that maybe will go on the pocketing, lots of different things we're looking at, so that when the new stock does start to drop down, we're giving a really clear message to the customer. And I think that's something this pause has given us time to think, how do we tell the customer what we're doing, and how do we shout about it in the right way and make sure that information's accurate? So yeah, it's been good.
So yeah, so I mean, getting a fabric or let's say a wash developed remotely, does it work out?
It's hard. It's really hard at the moment. So I've kind of managed to have wash legs sent to me, or fabrics that so I've got kind of a small blanket, so I know what they can do. And then I've got bought samples or vintage samples, and I'm matching to them. And then it's a lot of photographic and Zoom bits. Photographs are better, but when you do it on Zoom, like I've invested in these, what do you call the lights on top of the cameras, better lighting in my room, so then I can, in my office, I can show fabric, you can see what's going on. But it's a learning curve. That's the best way to put it.
Yeah, I'm keeping DHL busy. I'm keeping the DHL man very busy. And a box arrives on the doorstep, he plonks it down and runs, and I get my gloves on, pick it up. I mean, when this first happened, I was getting quite a lot of fabrics from overseas, from China. So like the boxes were sat outside for a few days. So the whole way we're working is different, but it's manageable, because we do give a lot of wash comments on photographs and things like that. But I am finding myself having to give a lot more detail and a lot more technical detail in terms of, you know, it's not just reduce the contrast and this and bits and pieces like that. It's actually look at the chemical. Can you know, I think all of us have done a lot of work on antivirals, and I had those tests through the other day, and they were excellent with the water repellency and how it's performing. We can't fully test it, but I was trying to demonstrate to the team by pouring water on, saying this is the level of repellency. So we all have to think a little bit.
Do you have some products which have, you know, working on the antiviral side? You already have some products?
We have to go by the certification the companies are sending us. We've tried them all. We've tried the Garmin one, we've tried Neo Chemica. That was the one I got the other day, which looked good. And Rudolph have a great product. So everybody has products. We've asked the laundries to test them for us. But when the samples arrive, all we can really look at it is from, has the cast changed? Has the hand feel been impacted? Does it actually seem to give you a level of repellency and clean? I don't think we can truly know exactly how it will perform, because we don't know how the virus is going to affect us. But I think to give the customers a level of confidence that there is some product on there and that garments are easy to clean and wipe down and things, I think it might be a good thing. Nobody's taken a final decision whether this is going to be done. And recently, going off tangent, but like Genealogia and Tornello have both launched a sanitizing cabinet with ozone, which to me is fantastic for the stores. And that's another way of looking at this and approaching that problem. So there's lots of opportunities, but it's time to explore those avenues, make sure we've tested them, we've got those options if we need to apply them to the stores and the customers.
So, Salli, do you think this science and technology is going to be an integral part of product development in the future? We have seen it has been going in importance over the period of last 10 years, but I mean, do you think the future also is going to be much more important?
And to me, it is. I mean, it always has been to me, the science. I mean, our industry is based on biology, it's based on physics, it's based on chemistry dramatically. So science is integral to denim. As I say, we can't just draw a picture anymore. We need to give guidelines and draw specs. But I think understanding the science now, I mean, the mills and the laundries have done such an incredible job on delivering the technology that we've been asking for. You know, better. Sorry, my neighbours just started banging on the wall. I'm sorry if you can hear a man hammering. Happens. He's obviously putting up a picture. No, so we put a lot of pressure on the mills over the last few years to deliver better fabrics that wash quicker, that laser better, that are using, you know, less hazardous dye stuff. And they've delivered. And, you know, there's some incredible new technology out there that needs to be supported, that they have invested in science and tested, and we need to learn how to do it to move it forward. And like I said, the joke about the sillet at the beginning, I mean, it's important we understand when the garments are washed now, how we are disposing of our waste and what we were doing. So to start to understand, I mean, Rowan can tell you the biodegradable thing, but to start to understand the waste we make in our industry and how we dispose of it, that's very scientific too. And we need to be aware of all those things. I mean, I was really lucky. I went to ITMA this time last year. It was incredible. I hadn't been before, and I was walking around looking at machines. I don't think I've ever been so excited in my life. But just seeing and hearing how the technology and the machinery has changed in half a decade, you know, from the ITMA before, the new things we have the ozone technology, we have different centrifuges, we have so many different things going on in these machines, and the way they've been thought about and developed. I mean, science and engineering has been remarkable in the last few years, and it's exciting to, you know, take that technology and apply it to the garments we're doing. I think it's really important that there's collaborations with university, like you were saying, Sandeep. You know, we need to take students on a journey, and we need to embrace teaching our industry at, you know, grassroots level. So things like projects like Foam Indigo that was done with Texas Tech, and some of the work that's going on with Ravensbourne with Transformers and things, I think that needs to be at the heart of what we do, and joining up with science as well, as much as the fashion and that kind of, those kind of students is really important. Especially with fibres and things, we're seeing great things with spider silk and mushrooms and that in different industries, but the botanical part of science is going to be very, very important, I believe personally, to the future of our industry. I'll shut up now because I talk too much, Rowan.
No, I totally agree as well. So it's understanding the science. So I was very fortunate, actually. Austin invited me out to Tencel with Tricia, and they took me around the factory, and I sat there and I went around, I was like, well, it's amazing. And because of my experience and the questions I've asked, it's all about asking a question, because it's not a stupid question if you're learning. And if you think it's stupid, you'll ask it once, and then you'll learn from that, then you'll ask another question. And before you know, this whole world opens to you. And you're like, wow, so that does that. And understanding caustic soda is actually part of the Tencel group, and then that does, so I was like, oh wow, that. But then Tencel, they're byproducts, but the byproducts are used in chewing gum. I always pronounce it wrong, but it's used in chewing gum. So it's things like this and understanding why it's better. So it's not just, it's Tencel, it's softer, it's not, it actually does things, it does better things, it's from wood and all these different things. But I've been fortunate to do these things, but I think like Transformers ED is the one that stands out far beyond the rest. In our denim group, we always talk about it, but the ED one is better than Transformers. I probably shouldn't say that, but ED is so much more informative. It's for students, but I think the people in the industry have been in the industry for a long time may not have known these new developments. And the only way you're going to learn it is if someone teaches you it. And then other parts, it just opens up a whole new world. So wellness, you know, CBD, BD, this calming effect, you know, from nature, the hemp, and all this coming through, which is great. Even, you know, I want to learn about this, but I get to learn from people that tell me things, but also how else can I learn? So I have woad in my garden. It doesn't grow that well, and my yield I get is tiny, but I have a madder plant. I have to wait 3 years until it gets to a stage I can harvest it. But I'm going to learn. I'm going to see how, you know, a woad plant, you know, every 2 years, it has yellow flowers pop out with the seeds, and it's beautiful. Also, it's part of nature. I've started about 2 years ago, I started harvesting nettles to see what I could get. So it's the same family as hemp. So understanding how you harvest it and how complex it is to harvest it gives you the appreciation of linen, hemp and things like that. It's hard to process, but we don't understand that because of fast fashion, because it's taken all value out of it. But I think the science will actually create interest and give this kind of a value back to the industry. I'm hoping this is what I sincerely hope for. It'll take a while, but I hope this is where kind of it's going to be going. Yeah, and then the other bits on science was on like PP and understanding potassium permanganate. And if you use a substitute, they go, yeah, the substitute, I've ticked the box, but why have I ticked the box? What does it do differently? So understanding how you have to neutralize, and sometimes you rinse it twice. So these 800 litre machines use 800 litres to rinse it and then rinse it twice, and you've got 1600 litres. But actually the other one you put in a dryer and it neutralizes it, then why wouldn't you go with that? And then that one doesn't, that is a manganese, which is a heavy metal, it goes into water with PP, but that doesn't. It's these things that I didn't know this. I only ask questions. Like Bruno near Chemica, he's a scientist, like a teacher. Miguel is another great guy. I ask all these questions, and they give it. And when they first go, it's a bit like wow, but it creates other questions in your head. And we should always, like kids, that mentality of kids. My kids, I've got young ones, and it's always why and how and where's that come from? What's that done? I'm like, that's what I need to be like. Always
that's the best. That's the best way to learn. That's why the kids learn much faster than what we adults are learning. So Rowan, I mean, what do you think about in terms of sustainability? What are the most important developments you feel, technical developments, which have made the biggest impact on sustainability?
I think I briefly touched on like the washing side. So we've got 800 litres in a belly, and people look at it and go, well, they're old machines, but actually, predominantly, all the factories I've seen have them. Not all have loads, but having the new like nebulizing systems or fog systems, they call it. We should use words like that, fog systems or nano bubbles, so you get the kind of idea. It's less water, it can transport chemicals, so there's less chemicals. It's in effect how much of the chemicals touch the garment when you've got 800 litres in there. So it's these kind of systems that, like Salli taught one as well, but they've been growing and they're getting better, like ozone machines. Every time I go into a factory that's run by, I think old school washing, they'll go, we only use that to adjust the carts. You go, no, you can try pre-sonic, and then you can do things like bleaching it down. If you put it in wet, you tie it and do it, you can get a tie-dye effect, or with get air without using that water and chemicals. So it's those kind of things I think are slowly coming on, and it's all about questioning and thinking about, oh, how can we do that? Because I even question chemical guys, can I put a chemical on something, put it in ozone, that reacts with the air, that actually increases this, so actually I don't need to wash it? And I get no's a lot of the time, like, what are you talking about? Like, they can't do that, but if you don't try, you don't get, right? Yeah, so that's kind of in it, but I think that they're the systems, but each systems get 30 years, have got better and better and better, and we can control it a lot. We can do data denim, where I can sit and design one for like a day and a half, and really get the detail in, send the data file across, then have the wash that developed somewhere to get data file, and then you ballpark, you've got an idea how it's going to come. But yeah, you need to be there to see the final bits. You can't do everything on the internet.
Okay, Sally, you want to add something on this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, for me, it's like we go back to science, but the physiology of the chemicals had to change so they could float on the clouds or the fogs. I mean, the way the industry has embraced it has to change. So to me, the most important technical developments are all of them, and all of them working together. I think ozone technology's got a long way to go, looking at the O-bleach that Tornello have done and things like that, and what's happening with the laser machines with Genealogia and VAV and other companies. I think we will soon be eliminating a lot of the hazardous chemicals. I think there's a lot of arguments out there about what is actually harmful chemicals, and the jury's out a little bit on PP versus hypochlorite. There's a lot of questions to be answered, but I think the way everybody has contributed to this process in the denim industry is so good. And the fibres, you can't rule out one innovation as being better than any other. I think the unfortunate thing at the moment is the biggest question and the biggest thing to solve is cotton. I think even I hope I know my job quite well, but I was shocked when Andrew Wallace said that 0.5% of cotton is organic. I think that is shocking. And I mean, I think cotton is the one big thing we have to solve. I mean, we can use alternative fibres now, and we can grow in a better way, but we've got to make a big jump to make the difference from that 0.5% to at least 50%, if not 100%. We've got to grow better. So looking at the farms and the way we actually produce the fibres for our industry will be huge, and have probably one of the biggest impacts in the future. Hopefully Farmer Rowan with his woad that's growing will be we're doing the research for everybody. So we're on the way.
Circular model close to my house, that's the plan. On this as well, we talked about the most important technical development, but actually technical development also, yeah, I was just talking about the technology in fibre tracing, and then things like cellulose and the fibre, where they're actually getting garments, breaking it back down and putting it back in directly, which is a great technology. And if people can embrace that, that'd be amazing.
It's hard because there's so many things to consider. There's so many things. With a lot of the companies I've worked with recently, where I've been teaching them, we've done like a sustainability checklist. So we've done a little document, very simple, and it just enables everybody to check. So everybody from the assistant buyer, assistant merchandiser, designer, everybody who's in the team has the ability to look at and check. So it might have a box for organic cotton, it might have a box for E3, it might have a box for, you know, BCI cotton. How is it dyed? Pre-reduced indigo? Is it Kadira? Has it eliminated salts? Is it natural dyed? You know, how has the fabric been finished? Does it have a version of Kitasan, or does it have some kind of like G2 dynamic ozone finish, so it's more responsive to laser, etc., easy wash? So trying to empower people with all these choices, all these wonderful technical developments and choices that are out there. If we're educating and empowering the retailers to make those choices, then hopefully we're going to get towards a greener denim. That's very, very important for me going forward.
Yeah, you know, but the biggest challenge when we face in terms of consumers, because consumers not having a universal standard, there's no universal standard, and consumers are not able to understand how to define, how to understand sustainable denim. So, do you think these universal standards can be developed? This have been, you know, there has been various efforts and various organizations have been doing it. Still, there's nothing called universal in our industry till now.
No, there isn't at all. And we have to do some work. I think quite a few of us have been talking about the food industry and how they manage it. But I mean, it's the governments that got behind and passed the legislation so that, you know, there are standards in the industry. And I think we need to get together and get the governments to support us with this and give us guidelines. I mean, I think I was reading about some of the information on the UK government guidelines, and there's things on there for just saying everybody in the supply chain has some responsibility for providing the correct information for the food industry. And there's things like compositional guidelines and targets that have to be met. So if you are going to call something chocolate, you must have 35% cocoa in there. So these compositional guidelines must be met. And I think there must be something that our industry can come up with where this is a truly sustainable gene. This is how we quantify and clarify it. I see lots of systems at the moment that are out there that help guide us, like EAM's great and guide us, but it's a manual input into the menu, so it can be flawed if it's not done accurately. Metro from Tornello is there to give us data and give us readings from the machines, but that doesn't give us all the data from the fabric. This needs to be completely end to end. At ASOS, they were working quite closely with HIG, which is a system of following, you know, from end to end in the process, but still it's not been refined enough to suit what we need in the denim industry. So the challenge is very much to find this thing, but I think it has to be supported by government guidelines. And, you know, again, it's protecting the consumer from goods. We had a conversation saying what makes a fast fashion organic t-shirt different from a beautiful Nudie Jeans or Kings of Indigo organic t-shirt. How does the customer, how do we inform them and to enable them to make the right choice? Because there will be difference in their organic matter. It could be just 10% in a t-shirt, but 100% from one of the brands. So it's really important we find this system. I think there's a lot of people talking about it, and I hope there's a lot of ideas that are being shared, and I do, no pressure, but I think Transformers could be a very, very good forum for creating this and working with governments and countries to actually set up such a system. So
maybe,
yeah, we've got a long way to go.
Maybe, you know, if let's say government, you know, European Union governments, you know, they come out with some standards and guidelines supported by the industry, you know, so the industry supports them, or the major, you know, the US and the Europe are the major importers of denim. So I mean, if these governments really come out with some kind of guidelines supported by the industry, provided, and these guidelines provided by various organizations which are working towards sustainability, probably that might be something which can work in the future once the governments get involved.
Yeah, we need to decide the information as well, what's simple. You know, I think the things that matter are what's the carbon footprint, what, you know, has been used, what is the water used on this garment, you know, where is the source of the fibre. I think we have to just have a very simple, clear menu that's colour coded as well, maybe has the vegan part. It can be very similar to what the food industry do. It just needs to be adapted for, you know, denim and clothing in general. Rowan?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. Like my view was the same. It was on the colour coding system. Like, you know, when you're on a rush, going to Tesco's and you pick up some food, if it's got a lot of red, you know, you can buy it, but it's your own risk. Or it's got a lot of salt, a lot of sugar, you might not want to do that. But then you look around and go, actually, that's orange and green, that's probably better for me. This is good, because in your head, you go, those colours mean good, red is bad, so I better not do this. There are some things out there, but like Sally said, it has to come together. There's made.org, which is the classifying fibres. So they have some class A all the way down to unclassified. So then if you should be able to get something like, if you use Class A, you know, good recycled stuff, naturally grown things like hemp and things like that, you should have a benefit to that. And you should be able to tell people, look, all of our fibres are this. You know, Nudie Jeans, like, in 2016, they started doing everything organic. So they should be able to have a banner, like a big green banner saying, we do this. And then, you know, Primark should have, or other people should have yellows, oranges, depending where you are on the spectrum, because every product's different. Denim's a hard product to make sustainable. But, you know, cotton tees on a rinse wash maybe is a bit easier, but at least everyone can see it. And we're learning. It's education again, and it's not just people in the industry, it's the customers. Because they educate themselves online. You know, look at back in the day, you know, you go to shops to find these things. Now you're on the web. And then you decide what you want, then you go to the store and buy it, rather than seeing it in the store and then buying it. But yeah, that's my kind of view. And then my last thing was actually, like a can of Coke, you didn't realise how much sugar in. You know, 9 teaspoons of sugar in this, and your child's going to drink it or something like that. But until they started labelling it and saying how bad it was, and then obviously Diet Coke's come about, but we didn't know. And we don't know what we don't know, unless we're told.
Perfect. Salli, I wanted to know if, you know, I mean, you were, what's happening on the London retail scene. Can you share some information on that? It's really happening because the stores are opening up.
I'll show you something on my screen. Of just let me find the screen. And a second, sorry, just bear with me a second. I'll show you what's. This is when the computer breaks. Oh my goodness. Sorry, talk amongst yourselves. Okay, got it.
Okay. Just
sorry, just 1 second.
Now you can do it. Now you can do it.
Yeah, that's it. It's going to go share screen. Is that working?
Yeah.
Yeah, you. So yeah, so the UK stores opened yesterday. I just thought I'd show. I live in Bromley. I live in a borough of London. It's sort of 12 miles south of central London. I didn't really fancy going up to central London yesterday, but we did see some of the scenes. This was my shopping centre about 3 p.m, like on the 9th of June. So you can see this is the main street. There's quite a lot of big companies up there. Next, Topshop.
So that was 10 days back or last week?
It was on the 9th of June, so less than a week ago. And then this was the scene around Primark today. The same shot is over here. This is the high street. So there are many more people about and the market has opened. The Primark queue, like everybody is hearing, had gone round the building and back down the high street. All these people were in the Primark queue. So it went on for a good, I would say 250, 300 metres. There's quite a lot of people and it had gone round the loop. The windows that you can see were filled with positive messages for the NHS and take care. And I'd gone around and photographed all the messages that were in the store. But yeah, it was interesting who was busy. So Primark was one of them. This was their windows. So again, positive messages to everyday heroes, but they weren't offering any discounts or benefits like some of the other stores. And they were
they're charging discounts, but not offering discounts.
Yeah, so I don't know what was like in that. I wasn't getting in that queue for any lovely money, and I'm really not that keen to go in and see what's happening at the moment, to be honest. So, but they're advising what they were doing, how they were limiting the customers. Hand sanitizer was in all the doorways of the shops, and contactless payments were necessary. So that was M&S. They were having a rainbow sale as well. There's a lot of rainbows out there trying to send positive messages, but is it also a ploy to get marketing and encourage people in stores? Yeah, so a lot of messages out there. TK Maxx was the second place, was a big queue. And Laura in Belgium was saying about this when Belgium opened a few weeks ago. Laura shared some pictures mentioning Primark and TK Maxx were both really busy. So this was it the day before. The shutters were closed. I took a photo through the window so you can see all these clearance signs that have gone up. Normally they're full price rails and they're all gone clearance. And then the next day there's a lovely queue. And they were inviting 100 people into the shop.
That's a lot. That's a
lot. And there were about 60, 70 people in the queue and it went round the corner. So that was a very, very busy thing. And at one point...
We can't see many masks also, you know, many people are not wearing the masks out here.
No, it's not been made law or anything here. I mean, we must wear masks on transport, on trains and buses and things like that. But day to day, going in shops, things like that, they're recommending we use a face covering, but it's not compulsory. We can make that choice. I would say probably 60% of the high street wasn't. So I've got a lovely denim mask, so I was putting it on when I went in the shop because it feels like the right thing to do to protect others. Even though I'm well, you just don't know with this disease. So Apple, just a quick one there. Again, it was empty on that was Saturday or Friday, and then Apple had put a special area at the front where they were almost pre-registering the people. They were giving them masks, they were asking people to hand sanitize, and they were sort of saying, what are you here for, how can we help you, so that when they went in the store the visit could be quite prompt and quick and easy and managed. So they felt one of the safest kind of approaches. I know Primark was very busy on Oxford Street. I couldn't download. There were lots of little videos, but I couldn't do it. But this was Nike, and
There's nothing called distancing out here, I think.
No distancing, just a great big lump of people all queuing up, desperate to get some trainers have been missing because they've been walking so much, obviously. But yeah, this was the case for Nike, and again Primark and Sports Direct as well. They were offering 50% off to NHS workers just for the day. So again, in my neighbourhood, there was a very big queue for Sports Direct. But I was surprised how quiet, like New Look, there was one person in the shop when I went past, no queue. There were 4 people in the queue for Next. Topshop had no queue outside. I think it's the kind of stores where people, obviously Primark aren't online. So the people who've been able to buy online, the shops were generally quieter. But is this just people going back for a bargain? Is it a short-lived thing? I was going to do a quick synopsis like this and then probably do another one in a week's time just to see if the habits have changed. Because I can't believe people have a lot of money to do this. So,
this at least is a positive development. I mean, if you see the customers lining up on the stores, but mostly these are all bargain hunters looking for immediate, quick deals. And we need to see, I mean, next couple of weeks how the customer interest, consumer interest in the shopping remains.
Yeah, I don't know. You look at that queue for Nike, and they all look quite cool guys, quite young. You know, they don't look like usual running in for a bargain kind of people. Yeah, it's hard to understand why people are genuinely queuing from 6:30 in the morning just to get in a shop when it's opened. I don't know whether Nike had a new trainer out or something like that, and there was a demand maybe, but you know, certainly Primark, they're just queuing up because, I mean, maybe people have missed shopping. I know people like the experience of shopping. We all like to buy something special, but I don't know. I think it's excessive when you have to queue for an hour to get in a shop for a bargain.
Yeah, I mean, that's what people are looking for in when the people don't have much money, you know. I think that's what's going to sell, you know, the bargain deals. That's
it. I mean, people won't have as much money at all going forward. So I do think this will slope off. In China, they had all the, they're not panic buying, I forgot what they call it, but they had all a burst of buying activity at the beginning, and then it started waned off and that. So I think we'll see the same. I'm pretty sure we will. Okay. All right. So, I mean, maybe we can remove the screen maybe. So we just take one question from, because we don't have much time, we just take one question. It's from Lukman from Navina Denim. He's asking, can we make truly green denim, you know, green denim from cotton only, cotton fabric, 100%? Rowan, you go first.
I couldn't hear what you said, sorry.
Sandeep, Luke Van message from Navina, he was saying, can you truly make green denim from 100% cotton?
Yeah, well, it's all about how you do it. So if you're going to do crops of cotton, then the second year, what do you put down? Do you put indigo down? Do you grow indigo to then replenish the soils? And then when the cotton goes through the chain, are you going to then make a product that's designed? Like I have jeans that are 10, 12 years old. So they've paid their price for what they took from the soil. But fast fashion hasn't. So it's these products, then you make better products. And it's all about, yeah, how you do things. You know, look at hemp. If you did cotton on that field and then you did hemp on the next field, then when you leave it in the field, it gives nutrients back to the soil. Then next year you do indigo, then you do food, and then it's crop rotation. I know it's not ideal in every country, but there are ways round of doing things. But at the moment, the price is pushed so hard, everyone has to GMO crops. It's got to get as much as you can, churn it out as quick as you can. And we need to get a product that's better.
Okay. Salli, you want to add something?
Yeah, no. As I said,
okay. All right. So I think we come to our final question for this discussion, which is our topic also. Can we really make truly green denim? Is it possible? I mean, we make it in parts. We make it, and so many people claim we have already made 100% sustainable denim, and we have done this and we have done that. But really, is it possible to make a truly green denim?
Well, green is trying to be sustainable, and sustainable in the end is being responsible in what you do. So if you're being responsible about the choices that you make, and you're weighing up, like ZDHC, would you use a harmful chemical or less harmful, but use a lot more? So then actually you'll make more damage down the line. Or do you use a harmful, but then you process it right and get rid of it in that stage? Then you've got to think about all these steps. And again, it goes back to learning and education. But I believe you can. My plan is obviously to grow nettles locally, grow my woad, get someone to spin it, and then make it all locally. So there's no carbon footprint. It's me, and I can carry my jeans to the shop up the road and try and sell it from there. In an ideal world, but that's how we used to do it. So we used to be sustainable. So why can't we be sustainable again?
So yes, we can be. I mean, if we revert some of our old practices and we use, as you said, right chemicals and stop using all those chemicals and right processes, there's a possibility. But of course, that definition still is missing. We don't have that right definition till now. What is the truly sustainable denim? And once we have those parameters, universal standards, then probably we will be able to do it. So anything else you would like to say to the community, to the friends who are all here? Rowan, Salli?
No, all we want to say, and the reason we want to do is to say, learn, keep learning. Everybody wants to share. We want to share as well. We're happy to impart knowledge and try and help everybody on this journey. Like Rowan said, it's to make truly sustainable denim at the moment is challenging because there's always one small thing in the process that could change, and a lot of it's often financial as well. We work in a mass market environment. We work with a lot of big retailers, so you know the choices that we make have to be engineered into a price point. So that's why I'm adamant you have to know every detail and make the right choices that you can make and engineer the garment into a budget, because that pressure isn't going to go away. But there is the ability to engineer the product with the right knowledge of every step of the process into as green as we can get for now. I think until we sort out cotton, we're always going to have a little bit of a problem there. But certainly in laundry now, we can make very sustainable choices. And in fabric, we have some fantastic choices as well. We can engineer the fabrics much more sustainable. So yeah, it's just knowing what's out there and making the right choices, and that's knowledge.
And that's going to keep on going. This is a journey which we need to keep on traversing and keep on going on. And I don't know how this current situation, COVID situation, will really affect. We will see the effects on sustainability coming out in the next few months, because whether people would really want to pay extra for sustainability, the consumers are ready to pay something extra for that or not, or the mindsets have changed. They want to buy a high quality product, sustainable product, and pay a little more, buy less. Will that happen or not? We don't know. I mean, I think the time will tell in the coming months.
The most important thing is the choices are there. So if you want to be truly sustainable, you can go buy and rent a pair from Mud Jeans. The choices are there now for people to make those choices. I think I'm trying to encourage the retailers to engineer as close as they can into sustainability, and by training retailers and training brands, people have the knowledge to be able to make those choices. So at the moment, the customer has the ability to make the choice as long as this is communicated to them, and we need to come up with this method of data management so we can inform everybody to make the right choice.
It's a matter of choices, and I hope all of us, right in the entire supply chain, we make the right choices and bring the right products to the consumers. And of course, for consumers also need to make the right choice. We need to educate them. A lot of processes and educations have been going on, and the universal standards that everybody is talking about, we really hope that those come sometime soon, and we all can create a truly green denim sometime.
We hope so, and thank you for letting us share.
Thank you, Salli. Thank you, Rowan. It was a wonderful discussion. I think you shared so many crucial and important points, which I think our denim friends who have joined from all over the world would have really enjoyed and would have learned a lot of new points. So I thank you for taking out time, spending time out here and sharing your knowledge and your thoughts. It was a wonderful discussion.
Anytime.
Good, you're very welcome, and keep going. You're doing a great job of keeping us all informed while we're all on lockdown, or our lifestyles are a little bit different. So thank you.
Just taking a bit, just making a bit of effort. So, when this COVID started, and there was practically, we didn't know what to do. So at least we could share our thoughts what everybody is thinking from around the world and in different parts of the world, what they're thinking. And specifically, it was important to motivate people. If you're coming up with very positive thoughts, it motivates people. I think it has been a good journey with people like you, wonderful people like you. I mean, it has been a wonderful journey for me also for last 2.5 months.
It's a great journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Salli. Thank you. And I thank you all the audience.